Good morning and welcome to Oilpreneur.net. So today I'm going to give you a few different tips for, actually the topic of this video was the top reasons why it's hard to lose body fat. And I'm going to just go down the list, just as like my experience as a personal trainer. I've had clients in the past who had a really hard time losing body fat. And when I got a chance to visit their homes and see what was in their cupboards and see what was in their refrigerators, it wasn't really surprised why it was hard for them to drop and shed the fat that they had on them. And one of the biggest reasons, this is probably at the top of my list, one of my top reasons is the amount of refined carbohydrates that we're eating. If you're getting carbohydrates, let's say like white pasta, white rice, white potatoes without the skin in it. Let's see, what else? White bread, right? These are carbohydrate sources that are really, I won't even say necessarily that they're low in nutrients, but they are stripped of the fiber that they naturally come in. So let's start with like potatoes, for example. Potatoes, try this when you get a chance, but the next time you make a baked potato, eat the entire potato. That skin on the outside is loaded with fiber. It's going to keep you fuller longer. And it's going to curb your cravings for sugar and all of these different things. So try that with next time you do a potato. Instead of eating white rice, switch to brown rice, for example. Okay, and if you're brave enough, try even wild rice. Okay, wild rice has a huge fiber content to it. And so we talked about rice. Spaghetti. The next time you make spaghetti, instead of the regular white processed spaghetti noodles, use whole wheat spaghetti noodles. And I can personally tell a huge difference in my appetite. I notice that this is one reason that I'm able to get away with eating one meal a day, is because when I cook spaghetti, like I love to cook, so when I make stuff like spaghetti and I use whole wheat noodles, I'm able to do things like put cheese in my spaghetti, spice it up a little bit, and enjoy my meal, right? Because that meal is going to hold me like, and this is usually something like that I've been doing on a regular basis, where I'll eat the whole wheat spaghetti, and that meal will hold me all the way until the next day around like 8 or 9 o'clock. 8 or 9 p.m., sometimes 7 p.m. is around the time that I eat. And that meal is enough for me to get through my morning workouts. So try switching over to the whole wheat pasta, okay? What other carbohydrate did we talk about? Bread. If you could switch over to whole wheat, 100% whole wheat, okay? I think there are some breads out there that have some white flour in it, and then there's like some whole wheat mixed into it. Try to get a really good, reputable whole wheat bread, right? And if you can, like I like to shop at Aldi's. Okay, Aldi's is probably the closest grocery store. They're coming up in regards to their organic. And I did a little test actually where I was testing out, and I know this is a different subject, but I think it is still kind of important. It is kind of topic related, but I got bread from one source, and I got organic bread from another source. And I noticed that the bread from the one source, I've had this loaf of bread for weeks now. Now, I don't know if it's the genetically modified bread, but I've had it for weeks now. And I've noticed that my organic bread, it goes bad a whole lot quicker. Mold starts growing on it. And so this is just some little thing you want to kind of like look for and pay attention to when it comes to selecting, you know, good food choices. Organic is becoming a lot more popular now. A lot more people are eating it. So that's why you see it popping up in places like, you know, Aldi's and stuff like that. Whereas before, I don't even think they had organic. So that's just one thing to kind of pay attention to. Another top reason that you're having a hard time losing body fat is, so again, it's the carbohydrates, the refined carbs. You're taking in way more carbs than you actually really need. And as a result, your body is storing it, you know, storing it as fat. So that's one reason. Another reason is going to be low cardio. You know, if you think you can go in the gym and just, you know, lackadaisically walk on the treadmill for like 5 minutes and hang out on the machine for like a half an hour, I'm sorry, but you're not going to see the results that you're looking for. Okay, when you're doing cardio, one thing that I used to have my clients do is I would give them a fixed set amount of time to do their cardio. And what I would have them do, and you can try this out as well, is to do your cardio, but just like I would have them keep a log or a journal with weight training to track the results, I would apply the same thing with their cardiovascular exercise. So one thing you can do with your cardiovascular exercise is, like, for example, if you're on the treadmill, is if you're running on the treadmill, instead of running and counting, you know, did I run for half an hour, and then you log that in your fitness journal, you know, don't kid yourself. If you're on the treadmill for half an hour and, you know, you're going slow, and you're wondering why you're not losing body fat, it's because you're not increasing the intensity. And one way you're going to increase the intensity of your cardiovascular exercise is to speed the treadmill up. So one thing you should be trying out, like, is to, you know, basically track how intense is your half an hour. If you're doing half an hour, I don't care if it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, if you track the amount of intensity, like the miles per hour, for example. So let's say if I'm on a treadmill, I want to be on that treadmill, and let's say the first week I'm running at, yeah, I don't know, 5 miles an hour, right? What I'm gonna do is jot that down in my journal and say, okay, today when I did cardio, I ran my regular half an hour on the treadmill at 5 miles per hour. So the next week, you know, I'm gonna try to up that, let's say 5.5, right? 5.5 miles per hour for a half an hour as usual. And you will see that if you start to actually gauge and jot down in your fitness journals the intensity that you're doing your cardio, this is gonna help you shed those fat pounds, okay? Because your body's gonna start tapping into it. So this is one thing that you should keep in mind when you're trying to lose body fat. Another top reason people do not lose body fat, why you're not losing body fat, is not going to the gym frequent enough. You know, as a rule of thumb that I always like to that I actually use on myself, and I've applied with clients of mine, is when you're in the gym, when you're on a fitness regimen, the rule of thumb that I apply is that you want to be going more days out of the week than less days. So let's say we have 7 days out of a week, right? At minimum, you should be going at least 4 days a week. Okay. If you are working with a personal trainer, most trainers will train you like 3 days a week. That seems to be kind of standard. You know, when you get into, working with a personal trainer, is going like 3 days a week. This is kind of like how we did when I was a personal trainer. But generally, you want to be going no less than 4 days a week, okay, when you get into a fitness regimen. So you want to be regular with it. Because here's the thing that's going to happen, and I've actually experienced this with myself, is that when I go to the gym regularly, what's happening is I'm drinking a lot of water. Every time I work out, you consume more water. Okay, so not only are you shedding pounds, you're shedding body fat by attending the gym regularly, but what's happening is when you drink water, water helps to metabolize fat. So your water intake also goes up when you attend the gym on a regular basis. So that is one of the top reasons why you should be going more consistently, instead of, you set these goals and it's like, okay, here it is. I went 3 days this week, the next week 2 days, this week 1 day. Okay, now this week I'm back in 3 days. You got to have a fixed set regimen, okay? So this kind of goes into, we kind of talked about the refined carbohydrates, knocking that out of your diet. Get that crap out. Start getting whole grain carbohydrates for sure. But I should have included with that too much sugar in the diet. I remember when I first started training one of my first clients, one of the first things, and she knew it, one of the first things that she did, because she had a hard time getting rid of the saddlebags, as she says, is she reached into her cupboards and said, here. She grabs these big bags of white sugar, says, take this and get it out of my house, please. So these are the top things you can do to kind of keep in mind if you're trying to lose body fat. Kind of pay attention to that. So I'm running a little bit out of time right now. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, share and subscribe, and have a great day. Take care.